While there was much wailing and gnashing of teeth when it began, the reaction of NBA fans to the small ad patch on the shoulder of uniforms has been mostly a shrug. It didn't change anything. Teams and advertisers have loved it, however. Which means it's here to stay. Not yet officially, but just wait. Terry Lefton and John Lombardo at the Sports Business Journal have the details. As the league continues to search for new revenue, the patch program has delivered, generating more than $150 million. And 20 of the 29 team patch sponsors, including Harley-Davidson and Rakuten, are doing business with NBA teams for the first time. Team, league and brand executives all feel the program has been an overwhelming success, with exposure numbers easily exceeding projections. Clubs expect new deals and renewals will be for more money and longer terms. One top team executive predicts a 20% to 30% price increase for Patch 2.0. The NBA has not made public how much companies are paying per year for the jersey patches, but the rumored low end is north of $3 million annually, and SBJ says the high end could be up around $20 million. The patches have value to advertisers because it's estimated they get their logo exposed on broadcasts for 10 to 15 minutes every game. Picture LeBron James or James Harden stepping up to the line to take a free throw. The close-up on them shows the Wish logo on the Laker jersey or the Rocket logo on the Rockets jersey. That is advertising gold. What the league is not going to do is expand the size of the ad patch. The NBA isn't interested in a NASCAR or Premier League look. What they do want is to maximize the money they can get from the existing system. That means getting the logos on replica jersey sales. Nike, less thrilled about that, although their swoosh is on every jersey on the opposite corner. All but one NBA team, Oklahoma City, has an ad patch on their jersey now. The roller coaster of a season that has been the Boston Celtics ride has hit a dip recently. They have lost 3 in a row out of the All-Star break, a close game to Milwaukee, one to lowly Chicago, and Tuesday they were blown out by Toronto. The defense that has been the cornerstone of what the Celtics do has failed them. In their last 10 games, the Celtics have a bottom 10 defense in the NBA. It's led to a lot of soul-searching, at least in most corners of the Celtics locker room. After the Toronto loss, Marcus Smart lamented that 61 games into the season the Celtics are just not on the same page as a team. Not being together. And that's it. We're just not together. Plain and simple. That's it. Because, if we were together that wouldn't happen. We're all talking and linking up, but, like I said, it's something we're going through and it's something we're going to have to continue to work at and figure it out. I'm really sure that we will. I just don't know when. But I'm sure we're going to figure it out. Just right now it's going slower than we expected. That follows the too many mouths to feed conventional wisdom of what has Boston as the 5 seed in the East. Kyrie Irving wasn't buying it. He was asked about Smart's assessment of the team and, via Chris Forsberg of NBC Sports Boston, "That's Marcus's opinion," said Irving. "I respect it." A follow-up wondered if Irving shared that opinion. After a few beats of silence, a Celtics public relations staffer ended the press conference by shouting, "Thank you, Kyrie." Irving seems to think this is a regular season thing, something the Celtics will be able to get past once they focus in during the playoffs. That makes sense if the team in question has a foundation of good habits built up from this and previous seasons. The Golden State Warriors can slump right now and the NBA world will shrug because we know they can flip a switch. Can Boston? Do they have that reserve of good habits? They made a playoff run last season, but that was with a different roster in crucial ways. Boston has the pieces to put together a run to the NBA Finals and come out of the East. If they are anywhere near ready to do that, is the real question, and one that may not be answered until April and May. Denver is a troubling matchup for Oklahoma City. When they have met this season, the Thunder have led for 12 minutes of game time, the Nuggets for 85. If they meet in the playoffs, that should worry Thunder fans. Tuesday night it was no blowout. OKC even led late, but down the stretch Denver made the plays and picked up the 121-112 win, with Nikola Jokic scoring 36 points, grabbing 10 rebounds and dishing out 9 assists. However, in the loss, Paul George had some ridiculous highlights, like the half-court buzzer beater. Then there was one very angry dunk. George is right in the mix for MVP and he is showing out even in games the Thunder do not. Every day in the NBA there is a lot to unpack, so every weekday morning throughout the season, we will give you the 3 things you need to know from the last 24 hours in the NBA. 1. Where does Boston rank among the East's top teams? Things didn't look promising Tuesday. The Celtics were the preseason favorite to be the top seed in the East because they had depth, they were going to have versatility because of that depth, because their young players were going to keep improving, because they were going to have a star with the ball in his hands taking them to the next level, and because we knew their defense was going to be good. Turns out that actually describes the Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors. Those are 2 teams who have beaten the Celtics since the All-Star break. Toronto blew Boston out on Tuesday night, turning an 18-0 second-quarter run into a 118-95 victory. It's led to a lot of questions about where Boston really fits in the pecking order at the top of the East. And there are no easy answers. In Boston's wins against Toronto earlier in the season it was the Kyrie Irving show, but he seemed passive Tuesday, which led Boston to a more balanced attack this time around, and it backfired. They shot 6 of 30 from 3 and could not find an offensive groove. It was ugly. That happens, there are bad games, and the Raptors are an elite team. What was concerning was the way the Celtics seemed to just roll over and accept their fate Tuesday night. What's concerning is this team has still not gelled 61 games into the season. Also concerning, the look on Irving's face. Most concerning, however, is through their past 10 games the Celtics have a bottom 10 defense in the league. This was supposed to be Boston's calling card, and while Boston has the 5th best defense in the NBA for the season, we have not seen that of late. Their strength isn't there to bail them out on the nights the shots don't fall. Which leads to the questions, just how good are the Celtics? Where do they rank in the East? If the playoffs started today, they wouldn't even have home court in the first round. On the season, Boston is 2-10 on the road against teams better than .500. Still, there seems to be an internal level of confidence in the Celtics locker room. After a recent loss, Kyrie Irving said this was just the regular season, and when it came time to focus, when they drilled down on matchups against one team in the playoffs, the Celtics would be fine. Essentially, a flip-the-switch moment. Can they really? Right now, the signs are not promising as teams start to gear up for their playoff run. 2. Denver turns out to be a matchup nightmare for Oklahoma City. Remember above I wrote we thought Boston would have depth, be versatile, their young players were going to step up, their star was going to lift them to the next level, and their defense was going to be good? That also describes the Denver Nuggets this season. Oh, and they have Isaiah Thomas. That Nikola Jokic has stepped up to an all-star, and likely all-NBA, is not a surprise. He's been on that trajectory for years. What is a surprise is just how good Denver's defense has become, top 10 in the NBA on the season, and in the last 5 games they have allowed less than a point per possession, 97.7, best in the NBA in that stretch. That includes handling the Thunder 121-112 Tuesday night. Jokic led the way with 36 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists, and he heard MVP chants from the Denver faithful. Paul George was putting up some highlight plays, but it wasn't enough. It is very possible these teams meet in the second round of the playoffs, and if that happens I'd be worried if I were a Thunder fan. Through 3 meetings this season, the Thunder have led for 12 minutes of game time, the Nuggets for 85. Ouch. Regular season games do not project postseason ones nearly as well as fans want them to, but when one team seems to have the other's number, that is a sign. 3. Break up the Knicks. They have won 3 of 4. Tanking for Zion. There will be none of that in Madison Square Garden. Well, there kind of is. The Knicks do have the second worst record in the NBA, giving them as good a shot as anyone at landing the top pick in the draft and the rights to the Duke superstar, a 14% chance, but that's as good as it gets with the new lottery odds. New York, however, is not limping into the end of the season. Orlando came into Madison Square Garden having won 8 of 9 and is fighting for a playoff spot in the East, but New York got great play from their bench and got the win 108-103. Not one Knicks starter scored in double figures, but Emmanuel Mudiay had 19 points off the bench, Alonzo Trier added 18, and the biggest stat of the night was rookie Mitchell Robinson, who had 17 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 blocks. The Knicks are still going to have great lottery odds. They would need to make up 3 games on the Bulls, who have played well as of late also, to fall out of the bottom 3 and not have their 14% odds at the top slot. However, it's good for the franchise to see the team's young players show some grit down the stretch. Don't touch the players. Occasionally players will high-five people courtside, crash into them and spill a beer chasing a ball, and there is trash talk, but a person sitting courtside risks getting tossed from the arena if they reach out touch a player. Which is what a young Nuggets fan did to Russell Westbrook on Tuesday night, standing, reaching out and pushing him, and Westbrook handled it like a patient father. Westbrook said he spoke to the dad about this, not the boy. He hit me. So I told his dad, be careful, man, you can't have your son just hitting random people. I don't know him, he don't know me, you've just got to control your kids. Russell Westbrook on incident with kid. Via @BDawson writes, pic.twitter.com/UC5JX52, ballislife.com, @ballislife, February 27, 2019. It was a young boy making a mistake, and Westbrook is a father. He gets that, and good on everyone for not letting this go over the top. But you can't touch players during a game.